I'm going to share. All right.
All right. And we're live. Welcome to another edition of the Industry Insider Podcast, your promotional products podcast where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA. And I'm joined today by a few other lovely folks in the promotional products industry, two of which you're very familiar with. Well, actually, all three of them you're probably pretty familiar with because our special guest today is pretty well known out there. But before we get to them, I just want to mention that our broadcast is brought to you today by promoshow.com. And basically, Promo Show is hosting its first themed virtual trade show on June 23rd at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, showcasing products from the great outdoors. So to register for that event, visit promoshow.com and click the banner at the top of the page. Promo Show currently features about 188 exhibiting suppliers and has had over 11,000 unique users visiting over this spring since its inception. Again, go to promoshow.com. Promo Show, the entire industry virtually. Go there, get all the news that you've been hankering for since everything's been shut down. So, guys, Meg Erber, S&S Activewear, say hello.
Hey, everybody. And just so you know, I am actually on the Promo Show every Tuesday and Thursday. So come by and see me.
There you go. Nice little plug. Go by, go see Meg Erber and hear all of the great things at S&S Activewear. Also joined by Stephen McFadden at Perfect Promotions and More. Stephen.
Oh, how are you guys?
Fantastic, man. It's another day, and we're live, and we've got Nick Lateur, guys. Can you believe it? Nick, say hello to the folks.
Hey, everyone. I can't believe it.
No, you can't?
You're asking them if they can believe it.
Yeah, it's what exactly can you not believe? That it's not butter?
It's not Monday?
That is not Monday.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure the actual podcast gets posted
on Monday.
Or the RSS feeds on Monday. So you're wearing the right shirt. You know, you're fine. It's all good. So anyhow, Nick Lateur is with IMAGEN Brands, and Nick, I'm going to turn it over to you just to give a brief introduction to yourself and sort of your background in the industry. Just a quick 2 to 3 minute recap on sort of who you are for all the folks out there listening.
Yeah, thank you. I'm the national sales manager over at IMAGEN Brands. I've been in the industry. I haven't been in the industry too long, actually, 6 years or so. I started with a company called AP Specialties, and I worked for them for a while. And then 6 months ago or so, I came over to IMAGEN Brands because we're doing a lot of really fun things. I think the reason I'm on here is because about 2 years ago, I started my own almost like self-branding kind of campaign. It was kind of accidental. Every Monday I would do this sort of post on social media, and it really was kind of out of necessity. I needed to reach a broad audience. I was handling national sales for a company that didn't have a big national footprint. So I was trying to figure out ways to reach people that outside of e-blasts and things like that aren't as effective, you know. So every Monday I'll do something weird or stupid or crazy, and it's kind of turned into a thing. I kind of adopted Monday as like my day. It's I get excited to get up on Monday mornings, which sounds weird even to me. I didn't always feel that way, but it's turned into kind of my catalyst for the week. So.
That's awesome. That's
Very
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're trying to do, and is really try to spotlight a bunch of creative people here. And you were one of those people, Nick. Like, we see you every Monday. You know, you're putting in the work, and we know it might be a couple minute segment, but I'm actually curious, how long does that take you every week to put together? Like, how much time do you put into that every single week? And it's a 2-minute segment, 3 minutes?
I started doing it last fall, and the idea was people don't have a long attention span, right? I'm not sitting here watching a 30-minute spiel on tumblers, you know. So got to keep it to a minute. That's what I thought, a minute. Mm-hmm. So I started doing these minute-long things, and I would add a little quirky thing. People got to remember it too. They can't just, you know, stare at you. So I started adding these little intermediary kind of little sidestep little secondary videos of me wearing a wig and doing like some sort of dance or song. And so They're about 2.5 minutes long now. I'm trying to make them less, but that's kind of what I have to do. And they take me, depends on how, it's been an evolution. At first it was me sitting literally right here at my desk, filming it, trying to do interesting cuts and interesting little jokes. But now I'll film for about 10 minutes here, just spewing off stuff about the product. And then I go and have my little secondary segment where I'm in my yard or in the street dressed up as a clown.
Not you. That's not you.
What kind of analytics do you have from that? Like, have you noticed since the coronavirus, like how has COVID-19 affected that and viewership and all that? Like, are you actually seeing an uptick because people are at home and have more time for that kind of stuff, or what have you noticed lately?
It's really interesting, and you guys know this. Social media is such a tough thing to analyze and to get sort of data from, and ROI really. Like, I don't know, we're suppliers, so we don't have a point of purchase, right? We don't have a link that says click this promo code and buy it. And the timing of all this has been really interesting because as I came into this new job and then the new year, Dale Denham put me on this influencers list, right? So then
that's how we met.
Who the hell is this guy? Like Meg reached out, was like, why don't we know each other? I was like, I don't know. So timing is a huge factor here. Yeah, right. So like in January, February, I was on this list, right? And people are like tuning in. And my videos have gotten a little bit sort of better timed and produced, and it's become a little bit of a thing. So that's tough, man, because I'm not sure. I know that there's an impact, and I know I get comments and DMs, and our customers will comment and then say, oh, by the way, do you have 5,000 pieces of this product too? So I know it's being watched, but man, social media is
it's really tough to gauge, return on investment for sure with social, because it's all so much just being out there and sort of waving the flag to some degree. But at the same time, like, just as far as viewership, like, have you noticed an uptick in viewership from that? And do you think that's, because of the situation, or do you think that's more along the lines of just because, hey, you've been doing it now for, I think 2 years, you said, and, as you go, I mean, things are going to start out a little bit slower and then, exponentially sort of increase. Is it sort of along that curve, or have you noticed it just shoot up completely just because of the situation?
There's definitely been a more commentary and more engagement by probably, I would say probably like almost twofold. So
sure.
I'm getting more comments of like, man, because everyone's this sucks. We all know it. This situation sucks. Just sucks for everybody, especially right now. So the comments I get, which kind of gives me goosebumps a little bit, it makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing, is when people say, man, everything sucks, but when I get up on Monday, I really like your videos. And that makes me feel that shows me that I'm doing the right thing, but also like it just kind of validates the work I put in and the fact that people are kind of suffering right now. And even though business is down, I'm getting more engagement with that video. So I think, yes, I think to what you're saying, the answer is yes. COVID has definitely caused more of a more engagement and more viewership.
I think that's what you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Nick. People are seeing that, and they need that sometimes, that inspiration just to, this sounds so corny, but guys, we're all in this. And some of us have our days where we just don't want to get out of bed. There's just days where I'm like literally sitting in my robe all day. And I'm like, geez, I gotta get a shower. Like I gotta do something. So sometimes they look forward to that, and I think if 1 week you didn't do it, you would get so many like, why? And I know for the last 3, I mean, it's just something so little, but people look forward to it. And for instance, I was working out like every day, and I was like really getting motivated. In the last couple of weeks, I was just like really down. And Tony Lametti was posting a picture of himself and doing all these like savage race exercises every day. And I'm like, that's my motivation. Like, I'm so competitive. So if he's doing it, then I need to do it. But I fell off the wagon, and I got just, but I would probably like, I did. I feel like with everything that's going on in the world right now and feeling so helpless, and, we talked about this prior, like you want to say something, but is it going to offend somebody? Before I was in sales, I bartended, and there was several things you just didn't talk about, religion and politics, and right now it's like no holds bar on anything, but you're just so afraid to upset somebody. And I think being in my position, being in the Navy and doing jiu-jitsu and the way I was raised, I don't see the colors like some people do. And they say, oh, that's white privilege. I don't like, do I say, oh, it is, I'm white privileged, but am I grew up, middle class. I work for everything I have. I put myself through school. I joined the military. I've been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I don't not roll with somebody because the basis of their color. Like, I can't even imagine doing that. Like, one of my really good friends, Jay, I called him the other day, and I actually started crying on the phone to him. I was like, I don't want to be lumped into a certain group of people just because of the color of my skin. And and then he texted me this morning just to let me know that he was thinking about me. And I think right now, not saying something it says more. So I just want to know that we do stand with everybody, and for the injustice, we want to see it fixed. And I know I speak on behalf of a lot of people when I say this. We want to see solutions. I don't think anybody has been offering solutions. We're just seeing problem after problem addressing problems, rioting, looting, the people that are being shot and killed on all ends. It's just so hard to watch. I almost want to take a hiatus from social media just so I don't have to say it, but it's one day at a time. And I know we're getting one day closer to the end of this, but 2020 is not the year, man.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year for sure. It's definitely not turned out the way that I thought it would when we started rolling into 2020. That's for sure. But I definitely want to touch on that really briefly before we get into the topic of today's conversation. But Stephen, I know that you've been a little bit absent in the conversation, so I wanted to loop you in just to see.
Sorry, Stephen.
You want to add.
No, it's okay.
Forgot you were here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I echo what Meg says. It is interesting, with social media, it's tough, right? There's so much good on social media, but at the same time, for example, the industry side of it with being the Monday videos or, unboxings or, just all sorts of great creative things that are out there right now. And, especially right now, it's easy to be buried, with all the other, more relevant things than our industry right now. And, I think that's okay. I think that's fine. People need an outlet, and people need a place to share their opinions and to have conversations. I wish we would get back to people being able to be together, to be able to have conversations, and I think that's part of the struggle right now, where we can't gather in groups and have good conversations together and, be able to feel the emotion of what people are saying rather than just interpreting things through social or through email or whatever. So I do think that is one thing that we're suffering from a lot with COVID now leading into the political things. So much stuff can be misconstrued and misunderstood.
Yeah. When we're trying to make it come from a good place, we're just, I don't know.
There is no right answer. Everything can be flipped,
Yeah, I think what we need to do is all come together and come up with some solutions
for sure.
Guys, everyone that's listening.
Brendan Peckerich on Facebook does tune in, and he says that love how connected everybody is now, and hope that we keep it going once things get quote unquote busy again. Couldn't agree more. And, hopefully, as much as we've been connected through video and everything else, hopefully that does continue on. So I echo that sentiment for sure. I know we want to talk about sort of people that are, engaging and changing sort of the way that they're, approaching the industry right now. And I guess people that are thinking outside of the box and doing different things. So I definitely want to touch on that. But, I completely agree. And I feel really bad in a couple senses here because, we're talking about, people that are doing things outside of the box in this current time and the, the climate that we're in. And, in a way, I'm not very tuned in, to be honest with you. I'm sort of unplugged. And in a lot of ways, that's a good thing because I'm not hearing or seeing a lot of the I guess, stuff that's out there. And I'm also not seeing some of the great stuff that's out there. So it's kind of put me in a difficult spot, but at the same time, like I'm focused on what I'm doing and, I'm not trying to be insensitive by not being plugged into current events because I feel like I sort of know what's going on, but I'm not, so involved in it. And so I guess wrapped up in it that I'm, constantly just being completely consumed by it.
Mm-hmm.
but in that sense also, like, I'm also not plugged into some of the great things that people are doing. So I completely understand what you're saying, Stephen, for sure. Does anybody else have anything to say about what's going on right now? And, obviously the riots and the social injustice that's happening with that, how difficult I'm sure it is on both sides. Cause I completely agree with you, Meg. Like, it's incredibly difficult right now, and it seems like, two wrongs don't make a right. Like, that's something that my parents always taught me growing up. And I feel like that's exactly how we're answering an injustice is, by just throwing more fuel on the fire. Like, I just don't think it's helping anything. But I definitely think that, there are solutions for the situations that we're facing, as a community. And I just don't necessarily think that what's currently happening is necessarily the answer for that. And I'd love to get your guys' take on that, just real quickly before we start talking about some great folks in the industry right now.
Well,
I think,
go ahead, Nick, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think as great as video is, it's part of my career, right? And we love video and mass media. When you look at mass media, video is the ultimate. Aside from being face-to-face, Steve and I agree with you, man. If we're face-to-face with people, a lot of these problems don't happen. So having the personal contact. The second best is video. And I've seen the good and the bad. So we're looking at video. And Jeff, you said you're tuned out a little bit. I've been too tuned in, and and it's affecting me a little bit, frankly. But what you see is this vast divide, this vast, like, just sort of landscape of the worst thing you've ever seen in your life, literally, to almost the best thing you've ever seen in your life. And they're all related to the same social sort of topic we're talking about.
Sure.
So I just, I think, when we're talking about solutions to this, I think that the best thing we can do right now is really to, instead of spreading things maybe that we don't know are true or that could spark some negativity, we should really, a lot of us, sit back and listen a little bit. I think we should take a time to go stop and go, okay, let's lay the cards out. Let's see what's happening, because a lot of the response to what has happened is I think voices not feeling like they're not heard, right or wrong. I would never condone any sort of violence or destruction or any of this. But anytime we've had rioting and protesting in our country, there's a valid reason behind it. There's ancillary things like looting and rioting that are generally not condoned. But I think the key is really to listen. Like, time right now is to listen and hear the voices that aren't being heard. So that's as political as I get, but that's I think they're going to be the start.
Stephen, I'm going to call on you next.
Sure. It's hard to say anything other than what Nick just said. I mean, I think it's there's lots of great things out there. There's some incredible negatives. Just to be able to try to weed through to figure out the actual issues and how to fix them. I mean, I probably don't think it's the perfect platform to go into specific politicals, but you do hear some solutions being popped out with different review boards and body cam issues and things that I think would be helpful and provide some peace of mind. So there's things proposed. Unfortunately, it's hard to hear those things, as Nick mentioned, when there's just so much other stuff going on. And I think just taking time to listen to figuring out what is a good solution, what people would feel comfortable with. You have to be able to stop for a second so people can hear those things and process them and move them forward. And unfortunately, it's really tough to do that while everything else is happening at the same time. So I definitely agree with what you're saying, Nick.
Meg?
Yeah, I disagree with all of them. We have to stop and listen. We need to hear what people are saying and then kind of come together. And I think Walter Kirk just said it. We have a tendency in this industry to step up to the plate whenever we are needed. Maybe organizing some groups of people, regional associations to go into the cities to help clean them up after this and just coming together. I just want to hug every single person that I see. And I'm like, I can't because of COVID, you know, and I'm a hugger.
We need to get
hard.
like those pool noodles.
Yes.
We all need to go out with pool noodles and start a pool noodle hugging
like
group.
body bags, or not body bags, like bags.
Wow, Meg.
I know that came out totally
Wow,
wrong.
Meg.
Bags for your body, like body
Like Bubble
condoms. I
Boy?
don't know. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can
All right.
come up and hug you.
So 20 minutes in now. So Meg, do you want to bring us into sort of the main reason or the main thing that we wanted to talk about?
Definitely,
I didn't want to be insensitive and not speak about the topic that's very, very current right now. So I appreciate you all sort of giving your feedback and your viewpoint on that. But I definitely do want to get into the topic briefly. Meg, can you lead us in on that?
Yeah, for sure. So we definitely wanted to highlight, I've been wanting to do this for such a long time because right now during COVID, you know, the whole general email blasting, or we can't go see customers in person, can't have vendors in, that's all gone away. So a lot of us have stepped up to the plate to do things that are outside the box, to get those views, to get those orders, or just to really just provide content to this industry, and they're doing it in a different way. And that's why we asked Nick to be on here. You know, he has his Mondays gig, so we're really excited. But each of us, we're gonna kind of go down our list, and I asked everyone to bring 2 to 3 people, ideas or names, just to this conversation, so we could kind of have a conversation. But I know we probably all have the couple of the same people on our list. Do you want me to start, and I'll name one
sure.
or two? Okay. Well, Common SKU, obviously the crew. We got to give that up for them. Nick and I were both on the Common SKU at home a week or so ago. I still haven't had a chance to go back and look at all the rest of them because I was decompressing after my 45 minutes of heart attacks before I started speaking. Nick and I were texting because I was literally like, the lawnmower was going, my in-laws showed up, the link wasn't working, and it was like 3, 2, 1. And I'm like, hey, and then for the first 30 seconds, it didn't even work. So I was having a straight up heart attack. But
you thought you were miming.
I was like,
the whole thing.
yeah. So Kate, they really did a good job putting it all together. And just being, you know, this is so different, and it was such a great platform, and I'm glad they only gave me 5 minutes because I was just shaking for so long even afterward. And I know, Nick, we were just like, we just have to decompress after that. So definitely want to give a big shout out to all the crew over at Common SKU. They worked so hard to put that together in 5 weeks. So super proud of them. And then some names that I think everybody knows: Kirby, Hassman, Charity Gibson, Jay Buscelli. I didn't want to say his last name wrong. I was always saying Buscelli or whatever, but I made him clarify that. And then we had Jeremy Picker on here a couple weeks ago. These people are they're just creative geniuses. They're not just going by the book that you learned in Marketing 101. They're just really stepping outside the box. So I do have more, but these are, I think, like platform people, you know, they should be up there. But go ahead. What do you guys think?
I'll go next.
Okay. I have a lot more, but I wanted to, like, these are like the primaries. So go ahead, Nick.
No, there's a lot of people that inspire me too. All the people you mentioned, Meg, are awesome. But if I have to pick just a couple, I think I'm really impressed by Spectre & Co. There's a guy, Evan, there that runs all their social media, and he does these videos specifically that are kind of like, I think I dig them because it's in line with the type of stuff I like to do anywhere. Yeah. Very well done, very well produced, but always got a product in there, and it's kind of funny. It's great. So Spectre & Co. is doing great. Mike Simzak and Jason from Lukash from Org Audio, HPG. They have a YouTube show. If you guys haven't seen, it's called The Deuce. I think it's just, they always mix in products, of course, and it's an HPG production, Hub Pen production, but it's just them talking about things that, because those dudes are super smart and just like trendy young dudes with great energy, and they talk about topic, you know, sports, and they talk about current events and things. But I think that's kind of something, having this YouTube sort of show that pops up that is different and really new. And then I'm liking, I don't know if everyone has access to this, but as a supplier to American Solutions for Business, Taylor Borst over at American Solutions for Business does like a daily show, like a video. And she's just so bubbly and so like, you just want to like squeeze her, right? She's just so cute and she's so good at it. But what I love about it is the consistency. It's every day. It's always very good, very informative. There's always sort of like a catch or like a, you know, point of sale purchase at the end where they got a giveaway or something. I think she's doing it the right way because of the consistency and frequency. It's kind
That's
of
awesome.
what they need. So
that's the biggest key, I think, when you're doing anything content related, is just to be super consistent with it. You know, if it's once a week or if it's once a day or whatever, like just to be really consistent with it for sure.
yeah.
Steven, how about you? Do you have anybody that you
Well,
want to shout
do I
out?
have any left? Is the question.
Oh, there's plenty of people left.
Well,
Come on now.
on my list, I mean, so I will say that from a distributor perspective, I don't have the privilege of seeing a lot of what other distributors do because I'm not following a lot of the other social medias. I do a few, but it's funny. The number one on my list was actually the Deuce thing with Mike and Jason, which is great. And actually, I was fortunate enough to be one of their guests. I think episode 4 or something like that. So it was a blast, and just the way they did the production value of it, where it's not so much product in your face as much as it is entertainment, which is great. And I had the Commons Q folks on there for the work at home conference. And Kirby, I've been reading some of his blogs that he does. So it's great to kind of see different perspectives. I did have 2 kind of outside the box, not necessarily social media, but it's people that have just adapted in a creative way for the industry. And I'm sure I'm going to be leaving some folks out here, but folks like ETS and Gemline, I know they've come up with really cool programs that have helped us adapt to the industry in very creative ways with drop shipping programs. So just things that have allowed us to stay relevant, and them adjusting their entire, distribution line, where we're able to, have them do individual mailings on, with outbound shipping paid. And
that's impressive.
So it's super cool, and was needed. It's probably one of those things that they've thought about, hey, maybe we should do this at some point, and then now it's like, we have to do this, so there's, I believe IMAGEN too, they have a program with drop shipping that, with reduced fee drop shipping and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people have adjusted in very creative ways to allow us to stay, kind of agile here and in front of people, especially as it relates to those individual drop shippings. We've been using those as direct mail tools, because we can drop in those mail lists, they can be sent out. It kind of takes us out of that logistics side of it. So, yeah.
This is one of my biggest issues with doing shout outs like this, because you will undoubtedly always leave people off the list. And
I have more. I
100% would hate to do that, because there are so many creative people and so many people that are thinking outside of the box right now. I mean, really, if you look at it from an industry perspective, we're all thinking outside of the box, because we've all completely transitioned. I mean, unless you've checked out, you're thinking outside of the box, because we're not doing the same crap we were doing 5 months ago. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, hey, PPAI, the whole industry, ASI, like, we've all done a great job, but some folks that, just constantly come to mind for me, like when you say thinking outside of the box, like Harold Wood with Bit Graphic is undoubtedly one of my favorite folks for thinking outside of the box.
Me too.
I don't know on a social platform necessarily what he's doing that would necessarily be outside of the box, but it's just from knowing him and working on the CPPA board with him, and he's the current RAC president, just the ideas that this guy just spews out of his head. Like I can't even tell you, like it's like literally pure gold. And for him, it's just like off the cuff, and it's just amazing. The thought process that goes on in his head, and how quickly that stuff comes off. So I would definitely say Harold Wood. I think Paul Bellantone with PPAI has done a phenomenal job with making, just some changes recently. I know he's constantly reaching out, to membership now with almost what seems like a weekly video, or very similar to a weekly a regular video, just about current situations, what's happening, how's PPAI adapting to the situation, what the plan is. Hey, all these changes are being made, but here's what to continue to look forward to. I think he's done a phenomenal job with just continuing to put that stuff out there. There's just been so many good people that have been doing stuff different. I haven't personally tuned in or seen Brian Porter, what he's been doing, but I've heard he's made a complete change as to what he's doing as well on the social media side of things. So I just, like I said, I'm not plugged in as much as I should be. So that would be my list. And I know there's a hell of a lot more people out there that are doing really
Meg,
unique
roll your list out.
Oh yeah. I'm like nibbing. So
like,
I know I've been like planning this forever, but I follow a lot of social media pages. I have a couple different accounts here and there just so I can make sure I'm making the most out of it. But on Instagram, I'm following a lot of people. Fairwear, Anthem Branding, Brandito, Self Care for Everyone. Did I say Fairwear? Fairwear. TRS Embroidery in Houston. I mean, I was like, they're literally just showing like these really cool examples of their embroidery and how good it is. I connected with them and I've talked to them all the time. And I'd be amiss if I didn't give a shout out to my folks here at SNS. Not only the social media coordinator, Jenna, she's killing it. Jessica Jacobs, Taylor Armstrong, Aaron Lyons, Tim McCargo, my spirit animal, and Morgan Corey, Megan Zezo. All these people, we don't have to do this. They're literally going above and beyond, and they're finding unique ways to do it. They're not just saying, okay, here's a marketing email blast that we're putting out this week. Go ahead and market it. They're coming up with their own ways. They're doing videos. They're doing pictures. They're incorporating themselves. And
the one thing I saw that SNS did was actually that was really cool was you guys all took a picture holding up an individual word or letter or whatever, and it was all you guys put it together in a way that it made a whole sentence, but it was all the whole like we're in this together type thing. That was really neat. I saw that.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, we saw marketing. Yep. A couple of people in marketing did it, and so the ladies of SNS. Sorry, Jason Peters. He's in our ladies group, so like I felt really bad at excluding him, like really bad. It was like eating my soul. But the outside sales reps all put together something and we all took pictures and it was really nice. It was just something just to let our customers know that we were thinking about them.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, when you mentioned all of PPI, it actually got me thinking too about the regional associations. There's been a lot of really creative things that we've seen, personally, I get to see a lot of what Camp's doing in this area, but whether it be just having socials or trying to update the different trade show formats and all the different platforms that all these supplier sessions have moved to digital platforms. So everyone's adjusting, and it's really neat to see how people were able to still connect in new ways. So
yeah, it's been really, really cool. Like it's one of the things that makes me proud to be in the promotional products industry is how well we adapt to these things. But Jay Baselli tunes in on Facebook or chimes in and says this is a huge reset and we should definitely use it to our advantage. Great topic today. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So with that being said, Nick, I would love to maybe just get some more feedback from you. Maybe you can throw a wig on and get into character or something. I don't know. But, I'm not gonna
those are real people. That's not a character.
Those are real people.
I knew that. Duh. Maybe you can get one of them to. Never mind.
I'll find somebody if you want me to. I think Chad is out here.
Go get Chad.
Yeah.
You want me to get Chad?
Go get Chad. Okay.
Chad's my favorite.
Hang on one second. Chad. Bro. Hey, can you get on this show? I'm doing this podcast thing. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, bro, sure. Hang on. Oh,
sounds like Chad.
I just spilled my hot cocoa.
Oh no.
Hot cocoa.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's up, Chad? There he is.
Who is this? What is this? Anyways, what's going down?
I'm hoping you could tell us, man.
Well, I can't go to my favorite beach to surf right now. Lame. What else? We're out of milk. Milk's my favorite drink. We're out of it. My bones are going to crumble now. I got some new video games. I don't know. What's going down?
On that note, it is. I wonder if Chad would ever show up on the promo show. I mean,
they go to the great
that
outdoors.
was my question. I was going to ask him, Chad, have you heard of promoshow.com?
I have, bro. I heard it's really, really sweet. I did it a few times.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. Did you hear about the Great Outdoors show that they're doing? A standalone show on in June?
Sure did.
Yeah. What have you heard about it?
I've heard that perhaps you could see some fine Coleman products from IMAGEN Brands.
That's
but
possible.
I don't know if they'll be on the promo show, to be honest.
Yeah, so Promo Show is hosting its first themed virtual trade show on June 23rd at 11 a.m. Eastern time,
Right.
showcasing all the great outdoors products. So yeah, hopefully they'll folks will be able to see it there. But if you want to learn more about that particular trade show, you can go to promoshow.com and click on the top banner and hear all the great news right there.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, Chad, it's great seeing you. You know,
Good to see you too. Do I need to get Nick back, bro?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably a
real
good
quick.
idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good luck with the surfing, though.
Thank you. Nick, where are you, bro?
I love how they're wearing the same shirt. I didn't know if they were twinning on
I
purpose
think
on a
they-
Wednesday.
Done already? That was fast. Wow.
Yeah. I definitely. I love how they're coordinating.
All I have is he usually doesn't even wear a shirt. So what happened was
Oh, that's true.
I was like, dude, you can't show nipple on this show. So
Yeah, fair enough.
It's PG, except
Yeah.
for my cussing.
It probably would
one
have been okay.
big blurred out spots here. So yeah.
Fair enough. Well, Nick, I don't know if you've got any other feedback or information for us as far as like how you've sort of gotten things up and running with Mondays with Nick and all that good stuff. But any last minute closing info that you'd like to put out to us?
Yeah. So I'm actually recently was put in charge of social media for IMAGEN Brands. So all these ideas that you guys are saying, this is what I want to infuse into our company. We've got a big video plan company wide that I'm writing up right now. We've got some ideas for engaging customers. A few months ago, our marketing team did a really awesome mail out called Hug in a Box. And we do plush and we send it in a box to all of our.
We got them.
Awesome.
You got one. Okay.
Yeah. My
I
hugs.
thought it was just, it's what we need right now. So it's what we need to. Chad's leaving.
Were you just waving at Chad?
Yeah. Chad, he's bouncing. He took the shirt off and
Sweet.
No. So, what we want to do is really during this time, especially really kind of engage our customers more. IMAGEN Brands has gone through this sort of rebranding-ish thing. Stephen, you can probably attest to this. It was Crown and Vitronic were two separate companies, and 4 years ago or so, IMAGEN Brands bought them. And so we have this identity crisis-ish, I think. So the idea here is to really show that IMAGEN Brands is people and we're creative and we care. And so this is sort of part of the campaign I'll be pushing forward. So hopefully if you're not following IMAGEN Brands on social media channels, maybe you can.
Maybe you should.
So we're going to be more engaging and more into the scene here. We're going to comment on things. We want to share important things and partner with the right people. So that's exciting. Otherwise, I don't even know what I'm doing for the Monday video next week. So maybe if you guys have some ideas.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to ask. Like how long can you go like continuing to come up with an idea? Like I know that's got to be like I'm sure when you first start, like a ton of ideas have to come out. But then it's like, after you've gone through so many, I'm sure it's probably a challenge to just sort of think of how you can recreate or be innovative that way. So I give you kudos for what you've done.
That's my whole thing. That's what drives me is like, I don't want to bomb, I don't want it to be like terrible.
Yeah.
So I kind of hit this plateau where it's like, what do I do? So this is where new characters come in. We have hundreds and hundreds of products. So the product isn't the thing. It's more what's happening in the world, what's going on and sort of getting inspiration there. And sometimes I have ideas weeks ahead. Sometimes it's literally like Saturday night. I'm like, oh God, but
Yeah.
And Nick, me and you may need to get together a long time ago when Crown had the desk in a box. I wrote an entire parody.
Desk in a box?
Yep.
yeah.
Love it.
So
I
that
see
was
where
my
this
first
is going.
video.
I knew about something else
Was
in a
it?
box.
My first video I did in
Hugs
December.
in a box, Jeff.
Really?
Hugs.
Was it?
I started here in December and I put my very first video was, it's the desk in a box.
Nice.
I literally did a song in the middle of it to that tune of
Amazing.
that famous
Yeah,
song.
we've been scripting a whole song, and so we came up with it. It was gotta be 2 years ago or so, and we were like, we just need to produce it. Like it'd be amazing.
Yeah, we should do
awesome.
a reboot. I mean, me and you could do something because there's two dudes, right? So we could do some sort of a
Listen.
Figure it out.
Listen, everything is cyclical. I'm going to start rickrolling people again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Meg, any closing statements?
Love wins, guys. That's all.
Love wins.
Absolutely.
I think we can probably just end it there, right?
That's
Yeah.
probably a good place. Yeah.
All right,
See you
cool.
guys.
Well,
Take
thank you
care.
guys so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you all. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Take care,
Love
guys.
you.
Bye-bye.